So in this problem, we're told that in the figure above, lines K, L, and M intersect at a point. If x plus y equals u plus w, which of the following must be true? And we're told that for 1, x is equal to z, for 2, y equals w, and then for 3, z is equal to t. And so we're trying to figure out whether or not these are true. And so we're given this thing here, and we're given this equation. So what we want to do is just write out our equation. So x equals y, which is equal to u plus w. So we have this graph, and we're going to use this to help determine whether or not these are true. So let's start with the first one. Is x equal to z? Well, looking at our graph here of our lines, we know that u is equal to w, or u is going to be equal to y, because these lines right here, since these are vertical angles, if you have like an angle on top of another one, like across from it, like this, they're going to be equal. So in this case, u is going to be equal to w, or y, my bad. So we can replace u with y. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So we have x plus y is equal to u, and we're replacing it with y plus w. And then you can see here, if we minus y from both sides, these would cancel. So we have x equals w. And so what you should also notice is that w and z are also vertical angles. Just in the same way y and u were, these are the same because they're across like that, right? So w is going to be equal to z. So we can replace w with z. If we go ahead and do that, x is going to be equal to z. And so that's basically what the first one is asking. X equals z. And so based off what we found, x is going to be equal to z. And so the first one's going to hold up. So for the first one, it's going to be correct. Let's look at the second one though. So I'm going to rewrite our equation, x plus y equals u plus w. And so for this one, we're going to have to use a bit more thinking. So is y going to be equal to w? So basically this angle right here is going to be equal to this one. So what we know from the first one, that x is going to be equal to z. So what this angle is right here, this one's going to be the same. So what I'm going to do is just pick a number to represent them, and you could probably pick anyone in this test to see whether or not it works. So in this case, I'm just going to choose 70. So this is going to be 70, and this is going to be 70. And so if that's the case, we know that since this is a straight line right here, all these angles have to add up to 180. So if all these add up to 180, then this is 70, this is 70, which is 140. And it's got to add up to 180. So y is going to have to be 40 then in that case. So y is going to be equal to 40. And so if we look at this, 40 is going to be different than 70. And on the last question, we determined that x equals w, right? Because remember, we said x equals w, and then we replaced it with z. So x is going to have to equal to w. And so if x is 70, it's going to be, w is going to be 72. So we're asking, does y equal 70? Well, y in this case is 40, and w is 70. So does 70 equal 40? No, it doesn't. So 2, we found an exception, so it can't work. So 2 isn't going to make sense. So we know that 2 doesn't make sense, but let's look at the last one. So we have our equation, x plus y equals u plus w. And so we're trying to find whether or not z is equal to t. And so we're going to use vertical angles, or the vertical thing, to prove whether or not this works. So what you want to recognize is we're trying to find whether or not z, this angle right here, is equal to t. So we have a vertical angle here from w and z. So based off that, z is going to be equal to w. These are going to be equal. And we knew from the last one that, we can just look at the first one here. X is going to be equal to z. So z right here is going to be equal to x. Right, so these are the same. And we know for vertical angle, x is going to be equal to t. And so that means z is going to be equal to t, right? Because if z equals x and x equals t, z is going to be equal to t. And so for that, 3 is going to be correct. And so we know that 1 is going to be correct and 3 is going to be correct. And so if we look at all these, which ones fit, we know 2 is not correct. 2 is not correct in this one and this one. So the only one that says 1 and 3 is going to be B. So our answer to this problem is going to be B.